I'm just going to say it straight. The Bible is the greatest book to teach you how to create peace, harmony, abundance, health, harmony in your life. And when I finally understood the story of the Virgin Mary like this, I never doubted manifestation again. Manifestation and creation in my life became a simple process of just understanding the divine truths of God. Now, the Virgin Mary story is the Immaculate Conception, the ultimate creation story within the New Testament, where it brought into existence that new fragment of God as Jesus Christ into this world. But let me explain why it worked for me and how it helped me to understand creation in my own world. The Virgin Mary was pregnant through nothing. So Immaculate Conception. Did you know that the word Mary, actually when it's translated to its original form, means the sea or unconditioned consciousness? Now, when I started to understand that, I started to realize that the consciousness that lives within me is that divine truth, is that part of God that lives within me. And God told us that he indwells within us. So when we understand that unconditioned consciousness is the way to create immaculately anything from nothing. So we have to understand how do we get to unconditioned consciousness? Well, we have to realize that from childhood, we were a blank ledger. We were born into this world with no prejudice, no fears, no doubts. There's only two fears you're born with: loud sounds and a fear of falling. They're the only two fears that are put into you genetically to keep you safe. Everything else we learn along the way. So when we realize that if we can come back to that consciousness without resistance, we can create anything in our lives. My favorite part about this story is that actually when you look at the universe and creation, the universe is that Immaculate Conception. We live in a universe that is the Immaculate Conception, which came from what you would call the womb of God. You see, God, when he wanted to create, he is all things. He is the masculine and the feminine. He is the Alpha and the Omega. So from the womb of God was the explosion of this universe, from that pure consciousness which is God. So when we start to use meditation and prayer therapy, we can come back to that womb of God where we can create too. But how do we get there? Well, you have to understand that we are taught that later in the Bible too, and in many other verses, but I'm going to stick with the New Testament. Jesus is known as the Prince of Peace, the ultimate spiritual sage within our stories that can teach us how to bring healing and effortlessness to our life. So when we understand that if we come to peace, if we can let go of all of our fears and stop doubting, we start to sit in that unconditioned consciousness. Think about it like this. Mary is the symbolism of water or consciousness or the sea. When in Genesis God created, he created the waters first. So consciousness was the thing. Then he washed over that water and all life and creation came from that place next. So we have to understand, I need to go to that seat of awareness, that seat of consciousness that allows me to access that divine power that lives within me. Now, how do we do that? Well, I like to do my relax, release, re-intend method. You see, all of my fears, doubts and worries about my life have come from learned habitual things. I have become what you would say surrounded by the mass mind. Now we must protect the doors of our mind from that mass mind, because the mass mind worries about things. It gives power to the formalistic world. It gives power to circumstance, including wars, presidents, and other things that are out there. So the power now becomes in something outside of ourselves rather than inside ourselves through that grace and connection to God. So we have to start to teach ourselves how to find peace in this chaos of life. So the peace in the chaos comes from the fact that nothing has power over you. Nothing has dominion over you. We are taught that we are here to express ourselves freely, create lovingly, and not get caught up in the dogmas of life. Too many times have I seen people berating themselves over religious dogma, berating themselves over the way that they should do something, the way that their mother told them to do something, their father told them to do something. They have resentment towards the past. So now the seas of their consciousness are dirtied with the idea of the world being something that has power and meaning, where we want to give no power to anything else. So when I understood that the Virgin Mary and that Immaculate Conception, the most beautiful story in the Bible, we can start to understand that I need to come back to unconditioned, unwavering consciousness where I'm totally at ease and at peace. So finding that peace within it becomes the essential component to connect to that part of the unrivaled, unconditioned consciousness. So the body is there to show you that. You see, your body is the temple of God. So when it's out of alignment or it's fearing, it means that there's the space for God to enter into that temple has become filled with the gangsters and demons of fear. So we want to start to be careful about what we allow into our minds. You see, we'll listen to others. I'll give you an example once. I was speaking to someone once who was interested in working with me. And I always believe if you're meant to work with me, you will. So I gave her a bit of a free session just to talk it through. And she started to say to me, I live in a cost of living crisis. I can't sell any of my puppies. I haven't sold a puppy in months. And I said to her very matter-of-factly, but also with love, I said, I live in that same world as you. I live in that same cost of living crisis, but I'm not seeing that in my existence because I don't give power to the idea of a news bulletin or title. I give my good to God. So all I need to do is let go of the dogma of there being anything that has power over me or that can affect me besides God's grace. And so we're taught that we must come back to that stream of consciousness. So what happens when you're in that stream of consciousness? You've let go, you've released. What we want to do is start to lay the seed of those divine truths in our mind. Now, one of my favorite prayers is, I'm divinely guided, I'm divinely blessed, I'm divinely loved, I'm divinely successful, I'm divinely peaceful, I'm divinely led in all areas of life. Divine health is mine, divine peace is mine, divine love is mine, I'm divinely protected, I'm divinely safe. God's golden light enwraps and surrounds me. Only good can pass into my life through the grace of God. You see how I'm starting to lay the seeds of truth into a conditioned consciousness to peace, where there is no resistance to those truths. The only thing that turns us away from the creative power of God or to create beauty, abundance, health and harmony in our lives is that we turn away from that seat of consciousness and we start to give power to the formalistic world. There is nothing in this world that isn't good because God said when he made the earth it is good and very good. So only evil lives in the mind of man because we are here and we are here to learn as spirits. We're here to create as spirits. But the world is tantalizing. The world is there in front of us and it can become a very scary and worrying place because it starts to add trials and tribulations in front of us. Now we start to make gods of those things that are in front of us. Gods of the doctors, gods of circumstance, gods of our parents, gods of the job, gods of our boss. Do you see how we do it? Now we become sinful in essence because God said there is only one power. I am the Alpha and the Omega. I am the truth and I will give to you freely and lovingly. If you ask for bread, I shall not give you a stone. But the problem is we ask for the thing that we want in a place of consciousness, then we get very worried, very frightened because we do not see it express in front of us in a time frame that makes us feel safe. Your job is to express that desire, claim it as yours, claim it as a given, and then let go of all fears and doubts by working with the body, sitting into that place of relaxation, letting those fears rise up and release, claiming from that seat of consciousness the truth, and then you let go. That's what letting go is, because letting go comes after peace. You get peaceful to the point where you don't really need anything to make you feel better. Then you let go of timelines and frames, okay? Then what you do is you expect it to be so because you have asked for it and you know that God will give it. I am the giver and the gift. I am all things. These biblical truths have changed the way that I look at manifestation. No longer do I try to create. Just like the story of Mary, she is visited by the angel Gabriel. She is the expression of unconditioned consciousness. And Gabriel says, you will bear a child. She holds no resistance to that. So the truth becomes so. Now, even talking about people getting pregnant, for example, I remember a story of a friend of mine who was struggling to get pregnant with his wife. And he was very sad about it. He was saying, well, I think we're going to have to go IVF. But I spoke to him for 30 minutes and I recognized that every time he spoke, he said, if we get pregnant, if we get pregnant. And I said to him, you notice that you're saying if all the time, as if it's not a given, as if it's not going to happen. I just asked him to simply change when we get pregnant. This is what we're going to do. And I asked him to relax, stop doing things in the time frames of what the app says, and just go out, have fun, laugh together, love each other, relax the bodies, and just come together as one, and just do it because it's beautiful to come together as one, and then see what happens. Well, 4 weeks later, he come back to me and he just said, we've had a positive, wonderful result. She is pregnant. Now, 3 children in, he never questions his body and their opportunity to have children. He accepts it as a given, you see. So what did he do? He let go of the idea of doubt. He came back to peace and fun and playfulness and trust. And then he just let go and did the thing, and it happened. You see, this is what we need to do with healing. This is what you need to do in your business. This is what you need to do in life. There is nothing outside of you that has this power. So when we understand the idea of the Virgin Mary, the Immaculate Conception, we're living in the universe which is the Immaculate Conception. It came from nothing, as people would say. So you need to understand this as your truth. I hope this video helps you today. And I'm going to do a video potentially about how to keep faith with the story of Peter and Jesus. If you'd like to see that, comment down below faith in the video, in the comments, sorry. Also, guys, I'm opening up another 2 spaces for my one-to-one 8-week program. If this is for you, reach out down below. I offer a free reach out call, or you can go straight to the page, check out what's in that 8-week program, ask questions to the chat box there, and we will help you to find your solution. I hope this video helped. I'm going to see you at the next one.